good to have you here.
Everyone's here.
Everyone.
Perfect attendance today.
Wow.
Tim, what's going on over there?
Over where?
Can't believe you got me to say it. What's new? Anything we can talk about before we start today?
You want to know what's new that you don't know about? There's a cat. There's a cat in my life. There's a cat that has, I don't want to say invaded our house, but the cat has shown up. It showed up like back on Christmas Day.
Okay.
And then it was just in our driveway and was a very friendly cat. But I don't want a cat. I've never wanted a cat. And so it just stuck around and it was like hanging out while we were unloading Christmas presents. And then it stayed. And eventually we're like, well, does it need water?
Yeah.
Like you can just leave a cat outside, right?
Uh-huh.
And so we gave it some water, and then it disappeared for like a month and a half, and then showed up again. And then now this thing is like a regular visitor, and like shows up at the house, hangs out in the backyard. We'll be out there by the pool. Cat shows up.
Cat's there.
Yeah, my wife tries to do some work out there. Cat shows up. Go outside to play with my girls. Cat shows up.
You don't like this, or you do like it?
No, I don't. I don't like it.
Okay.
This isn't a good scenario. It's a very nice cat. And I know I can come off as a grump sometimes. I don't want the animal around. This is not my animal. I don't. Thank you.
You haven't once come across as a grump.
Thank you. I know that. I know in my heart that's not who I am. But like I'm an animal person.
Yeah.
I just don't want a cat around. I don't want any animal just hanging around. Like you don't need me. I have lots of creatures that need me for stuff. I don't need another one.
Yeah.
But this cat won't leave. And I'm what do you call animal control? I've looked on like Craigslist to find. I'm serious. I had somebody I posted on Craigslist like, hey, there's a cat here. Come and get it. Mm-hmm. And I had one person write back, hey, you could take it to a local animal shelter and they'll read the chip. How? You want me to put the cat in my vehicle? Just like...
Does it have a leash or... not a leash,
a
collar?
It didn't show up with its own leash or carrying case.
I knew when I said that it was wrong. I don't think... If it doesn't have a collar, it's...
It doesn't have a collar. It's someone's cat. It's in like good shape. I don't want the cat though. It's not like I'm evaluating. Oh well, it's a pretty good cat. We should keep it inside. No,
right. I would keep a cat for the mice rat. I would not mind having a cat around. I would tempt a cat.
If I thought
to stick around my house.
If I thought this cat was capable of that, sure. But we also don't really have a mouse or rat problem, so.
Oh, huge flex. Okay. Sorry, you're doing so much better than me. Anyway, to bring this up in front of company. No, truthfully, when we had the rats, which was a while ago now, the size of Florida rats anyway, bro, cat's losing the fight. Cat's not beating rat. I don't think cat wants the fight, and I don't think cat's sticking around for the fight.
This is why Florida people have exotic animals.
Sure.
To really go after.
Yeah, you'd have to keep a
ROUSs.
Tiger in the backyard, and that's what's going to be like. Oh, I could make a meal out of that. The cat is no good. I have a funny animal story I'll tell quickly. We have, my wife has developed a real soft spot for the squirrels in our neighborhood. And this one squirrel was like not looking good. Like it was like, for some reason, it didn't have hair on its tail. Yeah. It looked like a rat because of this.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like it just didn't look good. And so it was hanging around for a while, and she tried to feed it a couple times and it wouldn't eat. So one time it was out in the front and I was here and I went and threw it some peanuts. And my neighbor walked up and then kept walking, and I threw the peanut and it actually went down and got it. And this was like a little thing in our family because I was like, oh, we fed the sick squirrel, and I was like, oh yeah. And the neighbor was walking by and was like, oh, what happened? And I was like, oh, I was feeding a squirrel, and it took the peanut I threw. And he was like, oh, I didn't even see the squirrel. I thought you were just losing it. Flat,
dude.
No follow up. Like, I just assumed you were throwing peanuts at the base of a tree.
So do you think there's a chance there's kind of like a Sixth Sense thing going on?
He was going to continue on with that in his head. Yeah, sometimes when neighbor goes out.
Well, what are you supposed to do? Say like, hey, neighbor that I don't know, I think you might be losing it?
Yeah, shouldn't you tell someone?
You're sub 40 years old. I think your dementia's kicking in. Who do you tell? You can't tell that neighbor. Hey, I think you're forgetting things and losing your mind. Well, guess who's going to forget when they lose their mind in 5 minutes?
He thought I was throwing peanuts at the base of a tree for no reason and was going and had, this is what concerns me. My neighbor had just accepted that as reality and was continuing to walk. Like, what's more concerning is not what you do with the information. It's just that. What do you think of me when you're just like, I kind of thought this confirms some stuff.
That's what I was going to say next. Is that's less of a red flag about your neighbor, more about your neighbor activities.
This isn't
what you do in the neighborhood.
Right.
Invites people to think he might be kind of losing it already.
I think he's losing it. Well, welcome to the podcast, everybody. That was a good segue to bring us to our next subject, which is the Bible. Teaches us to love our neighbors. By the way, Chuck. It's not his name. I changed his name to protect his identity. We're going to be...
Or because your dementia forgot it. Are we even sure Chuck exists?
No one's in the room right now. I'm by myself. That's scary. That's a real fear of mine. I don't know if anyone else shares that fear, but I feel like I'm not too far away from disconnecting from reality. And
my fear growing up was that I was the like the handicapped kid that like everybody was like, oh yeah, no, you're so smart. But I wasn't at all. But they're like, yeah, you got an A. Nice. You got an A on your paper, Tim.
That is such an origin story because then you committed to telling everybody exactly what level they're on at all times. Being just blunt honest out of your way of protecting everyone so that everyone would know exactly. They would never have to share your fear.
Yeah.
You're a hero for what you do.
Come on.
Today we're going to talk about the Bible. We are continuing on in Exodus. Forgot why I picked up my mug.
Right, yeah. No, just start talking and then slurp.
We're continuing on in Exodus. Tim and I, this is a segment here on The Bible is Funny we call Cheat Day Devos. Going to be reading 2 chapters in Exodus today. I'd like to start off just setting the table before we dive in. If you're new to the podcast, maybe a friend invited you, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Just sign one of the guest cards.
If you could just sign a guest card, we just want to send you a little gift for coming. There's a mug. None of that's true. Hey, we love that you're here though, and we just like to set the tone for the podcast. Tim and I are experts in things. That's just not even true. No, I can't even start with that.
There's got to be something.
We know more than most about
probably something.
Mm-hmm. Probably something. You could tell improv comedy based on how smooth we did that. We are not experts on the Bible. We're reading it together. We've been around it, big fans, not experts. So if you are looking for sort of like next level, like language interpretation, historicity, contextualization, if that's your bag, that's so good.
Great.
You're not going to get it here. You're not going to get any of what I just described.
No.
But we are going to talk about the Bible and sort of joke about the stuff that we think is funny. So
respectfully.
Obviously. Goes without saying. So that's what we're going to do here. And we're so glad you're here to do it with us. Starting in Exodus chapter 5, picking up right where we left off in Exodus chapter 4. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness." This is going to continue on here. This is the part of the story where he's let my people go. Charlton Heston. This is where we are. My question is the way this is framed, and it's a question to you. I know we've read these 2 chapters. Like, why does the request start here? Do we think it was always sort of a just let us go for a festival? We'll be back. Wink. Or if he agrees to the festival, they do come back.
Well, we hear earlier that there's like a go away for the 3-day weekend to worship our God because we're sad or something.
Yeah.
So we got that, but now we get the festival idea.
I want to go have a festival. I'm just curious if Pharaoh's like, if he's onto it, or if right away it was like, no, go ahead, go have your festival. I'll see you later.
I think anytime you enslave people, you know that they eventually need a festival. Like, you can't just keep people locked down with no festivals at all.
That's a good point.
That's what happened during COVID, and then we broke free of that. We said, give me our festivals back.
Yeah, that's right.
Dagnabbit.
Been one big festival ever since. Mm-hmm. So verse 2, Pharaoh said, who is the Lord that I should go obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go.
Do you think he was just upset that he wasn't invited to the festival?
Great question.
He's thinking about festival. Like, will there be music? Are there going to be some tents? Overnight camping? Am I going to have a close friend that drinks too much and then cries all night? Sounds like fun. But now he's not invited.
It's just you guys and your friends.
No.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, and you're playing country? Gross.
Yeah. Pharaoh says, who is the Lord that I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. I also feel like maybe Moses here, if you were listening to the other podcasts, it would probably make more sense, but Moses is like, Pharaoh, I didn't really know who it was either. I made him explain himself like 15 times. So I get where you're coming from. Verse 3. Then they said, the God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues. Nobody would like that, would they? Mm-mm. Or with the sword.
Like, yeah, sure. God's just going to come around and start swinging a sword. Honestly, I feel like that's a little bit too efficient for God, or too inefficient for God.
Inefficient, yeah, for
God's
sure.
Not going to just do that. We're going to get something either way cooler or, again, just a massive layoff of lives. Right.
Plagues or with the sword. There's two choices, but love the foreshadowing here with plagues, telling Pharaoh, the presentation of Pharaoh, we don't want to get any plagues. That we're trying to avoid plagues. We're actively avoiding plagues.
That's why we're going to the festival.
If you're not worried about plagues, I guess that's a different thing. But the king of Egypt said, king of Egypt also is also Pharaoh. He's got a DBA. I am the Pharaoh, but I also do business as the king of Egypt. Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to work. Get back to your work. Then Pharaoh said, look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working. That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people. You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota.
How hard do you think it was to get the straw, though? Is it my turn to go pick up the dead grass and just kind of bring it over here to this area? Oh no, let me stop my brick making and I'll go get some dead grass.
And maybe what we have preceding this verse is a miscommunication between middle management.
I thought that too.
Because Pharaoh might be saying, stop supplying them the straw, meaning the straw's already in bales and stuff. They can just go grab it. You don't have to bring it to them when they make. I mean, there's just a little tweak, but it'll really teach them a lesson.
Yeah, but and kind of hey, you're managing this operation. You don't need to be doing. You need to be overseeing. This is again a matter of efficiency.
It's like a one-on-one.
And then the worker bees are like, ugh, you're making us do that. Yeah, we pay him the big bucks to manage. From a 30,000-foot view.
It's a delegation.
Need him in the weeds.
It's a lesson in delegation is what Pharaoh's trying to do here, maybe, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think there's also this assumption that it might be a normal work day where you're talking about work-life balance. And then they're well, you still have to meet the same quota of bricks per day, right? Yeah. So it's obviously going to take more time. So that cuts into your free time.
Right.
How much free time do you think the enslaved people had?
Do you have any?
Real free time. I think it was just well, I don't have anything else to do. I might as well just take a break from that and go gather dead grass instead of stay here and I don't know, get whipped.
They're already working round the clock, I think is what he's about to find out. He says, require them to make the same number of bricks as before. This is verse 8. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. This is why they are crying out, let us go and sacrifice to our God. Make the work harder for the people so they keep working and pay no attention to lies. What now? About what?
Lies like, my hands are bleeding.
Just
You're lying.
in general.
Okay, but this is blood.
There's a lot of untruths going around. Okay, Pharaoh. I do think, and obviously we read the story, we kind of frame up good guys, bad guys, and this is a bad thing Pharaoh's doing. I just wonder if in a different context, he's at like a shareholder meeting and he gets a much different response to the same pitch.
I think so.
Where he's like, we're gonna double our profits. We're gonna expect the same amount of work from all these people, but we're taking on 50 new clients and we're gonna increase profits this quarter.
Pretty sure that's Amazon's business model. Like right there. We're just gonna give them more people to deliver to. Isn't that great?
That's it.
That's it.
We're gonna hire like more people or bigger trucks. That would cost money.
Oh, no.
We just expect the people to do the more. Mm-hmm. That's what we do.
Right. Nowadays that's celebrated.
And also we get to keep them away from the lies. Because they're out there. Yeah, nowadays it's celebrated. Like in the Bible times, you're like, oh, it's obviously Pharaoh stinks for this. But I think this is happening a lot. We're not talking about it. We're not talking about it, Tim. But we do here. Verse 10, then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, this is what Pharaoh says, I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced at all. I do get a tone, and again, there's all these characters in the Bible. I do get a tone that even these overseers and stuff don't love this. Hey guys, Pharaoh said he's not going to give you any more straw, so you got to go get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all. Like it just feels like a half-hearted attempt to pass this down.
Well, and then they've also got to say, and on your yearly review, we can't give you 5 stars for quality. We know you're doing well. We're not allowed to give 5 stars out of 5. Not. It's you maybe there's always room for improvement.
Yeah,
that's what we're told. It's not our rule. Yes, I'm sorry. You're doing great, but you can't do 5 stars.
Yeah, like Superman gets 4 stars until he gets the kryptonite situation figured out. There's always room.
Always room.
He's 4 stars like the rest of us. That's such an annoying thing. That's so real. Oh, I won't give you any more straw. This is what Pharaoh says, verse 10. I'll not give you any more straw. Go get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work's not reduced at all. So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. Oh, there's your answer. Yeah, they were just running around grabbing it. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw. And I think, like I said, I'm just getting the sense they hear it out of their mouths. Like, they're out there every day. Pharaoh's not out there. Pharaoh's doing his eyeliner, sitting in the throne, going to bed, waking up the next day, doing it again. They're out there going like, I know, guy. I don't know what else to say. You working all day. The math doesn't math. You can't do more work with the same amount of day and create the same amount of stuff. But I'm just middle management. Again,
if it's the feeling that it's going to eat into their free time, I don't know what sort of freedoms they have in their free time anyway. So what have you lost?
There's nothing to take from.
And there's nothing to do in your free time.
Right.
You were going to go gather stuff for your families anyway.
Yeah. Verse 14, Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, why haven't you met your quota of bricks yesterday or today as before? Verse 15, then the Israelite overseers went and appealed to Pharaoh. Why have you treated your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, and yet we're told, make bricks. Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people. I just love the corporate structure of all this. Mm-hmm. So you got Pharaoh, you got the drivers, the slave drivers, you have the overseers.
Yeah, the union overseers right here.
They got to go and be like, is this not, am I crazy? This isn't make sense. Make bread. Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people. Verse 16. Verse 17. Pharaoh said, lazy. That's what you are. Lazy. Yesterday morning, I didn't want to put my eyeliner on. And I was tired. And I didn't want to do it. But you know what I did? I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I put my eyeliner on. And I've got my eye a little bit and it's still red.
And we put our eyeliner on one eye at a time.
But that's what hard work's about. Okay? Get out there. Get the bricks. Get the straw. That was, I imagine, his inspirational speech was. Verse 17, this is why you keep saying, let us go and sacrifice to the Lord. Now get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks. Verse 19, the Israelite overseers realized they were in trouble when they were told, you are not to reduce the number of bricks required of you for each day. The verse, the Israelite overseers realized they were in trouble, is jarring to me. This is a people group that has so far, currently is in slavery.
And they just realized they're in trouble.
There was a genocide a couple of chapters ago, but when they took the straw away, that's when they huddled and said, guys, we got to get our own straw now? The straw? They're not even going to give it to us? This is an issue. When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them, and they said, may the Lord look on you and judge you. You've made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials. You've made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials and put a sword in their hand to kill us.
I feel like there's a translation issue there, so I'm not sure what people group is like. This guy that's kind of beating us to death and trying to kill us, now he thinks we're obnoxious.
No, he doesn't even like us.
I don't want him to think we're obnoxious.
There's probably a real psychological thing to that, but yeah, that definitely reads funny. I'm getting the sense Pharaoh doesn't even like us anymore, thanks to you guys. Before, he was so happy with all the stuff we were doing. He liked us a ton. Verse 22, Moses returned to the Lord and said, Why, Lord, why have you brought trouble on this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he's brought trouble on this people, and you've not rescued your people at all.
The message translation of this section was funny to me. It reads pretty cinematically, if I may.
I love that.
It sounds like some sort of dramedy going on, but it says, Moses went back to God and said, my master, why are you treating these people so badly? And why did you ever send me? From the moment I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, things have only gotten worse for this people. And rescue? Does this look like a rescue to you?
Ooh.
I would say some emphasis was added on my part, but that is literally
what it says.
What the message says. And rescue?
Rescue?
You want to talk about a rescue?
I've seen one person rescued. I like to. We typically, when I'm reading, it's from the NIV. In 23, yeah, I liked the sentiment. That's fun the way the message did it. But the idea of like you haven't rescued your people at all. If I'd have seen a little bit of rescuing going on, I would be happy at this point. I haven't seen any rescuing. It's the opposite of rescuing. It's really just the same. They're just in the same position. But the straw is the literal straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now they're camels? Sometimes.
That was wrong. I'm sorry. Please respect my family's privacy during this time. Exodus chapter 6, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. Because of my mighty hand, he will let them go. Because of my mighty hand, he will drive them out of his country. Mm-hmm. God also said to Moses, I am the Lord. Is to keep reminding him because Moses, you know how he's.
If you weren't sure who was talking
loose,
from the clouds,
he's loose on this every time. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but by my name, the Lord, I did not make myself fully known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan where they resided as foreigners. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I have remembered my covenant.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had this covenant. Totally forgot.
Therefore, it's always funny when that's thrown in, right? With after the flood, it's like I put a rainbow up there. Sometimes you guys make me so mad.
And you know, God's a little forgetful every once in a while. You try running the whole universe.
What'd you try? Huh? Let's see how you do it. That's how the movie Bruce Almighty got made. Mm-hmm. Therefore, say to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians, and I will bring you to the land I swore an uplifted hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord.
Once again.
Moses, up here. I am the Lord. Moses. Moses reported this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement in harsh labor.
I like that we're given Moses's like super long speech here, but then we're told, but they didn't listen. They didn't listen to any of it. Like, I guess I don't know that I'd go through the trouble of like spelling out the long speech before I said, but then nobody heard it.
Good speech, yeah.
Maybe just summarize. Moses made a really good speech. They didn't hear it.
That's so funny. It reminds me of when people do that with stuff that's like after your birthday or something, and they're like, "You want to know what I almost got you?"
Right.
Okay. Do I? How does it compare to what you got me? Like what? Is it like a lot better and you decided not to get it for me? Then probably not. I would not tell me. Mm-hmm. Then the Lord said to Moses, go tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites go out of this country. Verse 12. But Moses said to the Lord, if the Israelites will not listen to me, why would Pharaoh listen to me, since I speak with faltering lips? This is just a key example throughout this story of sort of missing the big picture on stuff. I feel like if the king of Egypt, the largest, most powerful nation at this time, has a free workforce that he is brutally using to create this empire and all these things that he wants made. I don't think the hiccup with him letting the people go is your stutter. I don't think that's what he's... Boy, if he'd have delivered that better, if the PowerPoint had been cleaner, I probably would have let him go. I'll tell you, the typos. I can't do it. I can't do it. In good faith. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And now we get into the family record of Moses and Aaron.
Always fun.
This is one of the... You gotta say, we're 2 books into the Bible, and there's a couple of these already. There's more to come. Spoiler alert. This one felt out of the blue. I guess it's kind of worth saying.
I thought so too.
In the middle of a story. We're just... But, here we go.
Like somebody wrote this thing and then cut and pasted it and forgot that they had pasted this thing in the middle of the article and then went to print.
Sure, right.
Just went to print. Oh, yeah, by the way, here's all their family history.
Oh, well, just leave it there.
And here's their vaccination record.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're going to play a game here we like to play called The Bible is Punny. Dun, 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 dun. Pow! So we're going to go through these names. There's a bunch of good names here. Before we get into the puns, I do want to point out the one interesting tidbit from this to me is in verse 20.
Geez.
Where you say,
so
I am.
down.
Because this is just a note. Amram married his father's sister, Jochebed, who bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years.
Married father's sister.
Amram married his father's sister, Jochebed, who bore...
And Jochebed.
Just fun fact, Moses' mom was also his great aunt. It's a note. If you feel like your family situation is weird and you don't like talking about it, you can be like, you could follow it up with that. You could give your kind of like story you got to tell and everyone's like doing this. Like, but did you know? Bible, Moses, ever heard of him? All right, Tim, let's be real punny. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, we're reading through it. No, we're not reading through these.
No, we're not going to read.
This is why.
I'll tell the people fun. Verse 13 through 25 is what we're going to just summarize with puns. A lot of names in there. Attempt to pronounce them on your own.
13 says, now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron about the Israelites and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he commanded them to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. Now, these are the heads of their families. And then we get a list, just a kind of a general list of everybody and who their dad was.
Yeah.
In this line, yeah. You want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
I went with just, these are some biblical words that I think people could start using. That was my strategy for the puns today. This is I have 3. How many do you have? I forgot how many we landed on.
I can probably have as many as you want.
Okay, well, I got 3. Maybe it's not. But here's my first one. Is in verse 24. And this is the person that discovered the moose for the first time describing the creature to his friends. It comes from verse 24, and the word is...
Can you read the verse?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to him.
Oh, okay.
This is, again, the person that discovered the moose describing the creature to their friends. Elkanah. The sons of Korah were Aser, Elkanah. Elkanah. You can use that now.
I'm good. My first one comes from verse 15. Sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, Shaul. Mm-hmm. These were the sons of Simeon. My pun is, hey, I got the horse, the cow, and a couple of sheep, but how are we going to carry our tents and stuff? Should we bring Jemuel?
I like that one.
Jemuel.
We could bring Jemuel. We could bring Mumule. This is from verse 20. Amram married his father's sister Jochebed, who bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years. This is a word you can use when someone drives a Dodge truck and they like make it their whole personality. They're like, oh, look at old Amram over there. Amram. We get it. You drive a Dodge Ram. Amram.
Oh, your puns.
There's my pun.
Your puns, Aunt. Are we doing 3?
I got one more.
Okay.
You can do as many as you want. I got one more.
I'll save my favorite one maybe for the end. But I got a few. This one comes from verse 24. The sons of Korah were Aser, Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These are the Korahite clans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
My joke is, hey, Korah, is that your son? Korah says, that's my boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's double points on this category board because you used both. Korah in the story. You used Korah.
Well, just as someone asking Korah, hey,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
This is highbrow stuff, folks. You can't get this for free.
All right, this is my last one from verse 23. Aaron married...
Except for the podcast is free.
Elisheba. Aaron married Elisheba, verse 23, daughter of Aminadab and sister of Nashon. She bore him Nadab and Abihu. This is when you get good news or something. You guys, I'm really excited. I think I'm in a dab. And then you hit him with it.
That's funny because you said that, and I was looking for like a, hey, how much you want do you want like a whole like scoop of sour cream on that taco? And you're like, I'm gonna need a dab.
No,
I'm gonna dab.
Yeah, hey, you could use it for all kinds of great situations.
All right, here's my last one. Verse 18: the sons of Kohath were Amram, previously mentioned, Ishar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Kohath lived 133 years. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. Kohath says to his friend,
"Yeah,
look at this house in the middle of the desert. Excellently crafted. Must have been meticulously put together over. Sorry, hold on. I'm going to start over because I screwed that up.
All right, hit me.
I think I accidentally put a typo. Kohath says to his buddy, look at this house in the middle of the desert, excellently crafted. Must have been meticulously put together over the course of years of work by a skillful carpenter. Friend says, Ishar? Kohath says, well, if it was easy, you'd see him everywhere. Ishar.
What, like Ishar?
That's it. I mean, again,
it's really good.
There's more.
I like that.
We'll save them for next time.
I encourage you to do this when you reach the genealogies in your Bible, because it really makes it a much more enjoyable experience than hearing yourself mispronounce everything for no reason at all. We're going to pick back up on the story of verse 26 and end it here. it was this. So we go through all of the genealogy to kind of give Aaron and Moses is where they fit into all the tribes in the family history. So it picks up in 26. It was this Aaron and Moses to whom the Lord said, "Bring the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions." They were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, about bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. This same Moses and Aaron. Mm-hmm. A lot of people believe it's pretty commonly held that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. It's commonly held. That's what they think. The best guess. Which is
it's not my guess, and I'm a scholar.
This is funny to me because it gives me the impression. I don't know this for sure because I don't know much of anything. The way that these 2 verses are written is like there was another Aaron and Moses that were getting some of like maybe they weren't quick to kind of like not say that they were so he does the whole lineage of the family, and then in these 2 verses like so that Aaron and Moses, that's the ones that did the cool stuff. Mm-hmm. Just so we're clear. Mm-hmm. That Aaron and Moses.
Yeah. Oh, you're thinking of Aaron and Moses, the carpenters. No, that's Aaron with an E.
Aaron.
It's not the same one.
Moses with a U. Aaron Moses. Not the same. My name is Anthony Russo, and it is also isn't quite as hot as it once was, but the Marvel movies had a director named Anthony Russo.
And your brother's Joe.
And my brother's Joe and their brother's Joe. So, but I'm not that Anthony Russo.
Right.
And I'm sure he's saying that all the time. He's like, there's another Anthony Russo. That's not the one that directed the movies.
Yeah, somebody's saying to the other Anthony Russo, so you do that podcast. And he's like, no here's my lineage.
Do not associate me with that podcast.
And this was my dad, and this was my aunt, who was also my great mom.
You had to disclose that, but it was worth it to really bring the point home. Verse 28. Now when the Lord spoke to Moses in Egypt, he said to him, "I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I tell you." But Moses said to the Lord, "Since I speak with faltering lips, why would Pharaoh listen to me?" Verse 30. And I guess in the comedy rule of 3s, we do have to ask this again. That's how Exodus chapter 6 ends, on that cliffhanger.
Yeah, well, I want to add at the end, Moses, the message translation of verse 30 is, and Moses answered, "Look at me, I stutter. Why would Pharaoh listen to me?" And I just kind of want to point out that you can't look at someone and tell if they stutter. It's more of an audible cross to bear.
Right, there are some things you can deduce. Like I've had people say, like by looking at me, that they think I watched the show Glee. It's like fair.
Yeah,
fair.
You do give those vibes.
But you cannot tell if they stutter just by looking at them. That's it. Guys, you just did 2 chapters of the Bible. Give yourself a round of applause. Mm-hmm. We read it together.
And a treasure in heaven.
A treasure in heaven.
That's what you just earned today.
But ding! Tim, what did you learn today?
Oh, man. I learned if you want time off from work, you got to invite your boss to the festival. You have to. You don't want to, but you have. And your boss might not show up, mm-hmm. but you have to at least give the invite, put the offer out there.
Right.
That way you can get that time off. Otherwise, you get major consequences. You're gonna have to work the weekend.
That's right. I think for me, it's about spending some time to correctly identify your biggest hurdle between you and your goal. So if you're Moses and you're like, I want to get these people out of Egypt. There's like a ton of them. They really serve a purpose under this king of Egypt. And you're like
mean.
He's super mean and cruel and kind of works people to no end. And he really is getting a lot of work at these people.
And could kill me in any moment.
He could kill me. Yeah. He could kill them once he gets done with his eyeliner. And if you assess all that and you're like, it's my stutter, I think is, if I was to put, we got to figure out travel because that's going to be tricky and food for the kids. But before that, I think it's my stutter.
I wonder if that was a ploy for him to be like, hey, God, I have this. Do you mind getting rid of the stutter? Is that because I would do that if it wasn't for the stutter? Can you just get rid of the stutter? It's kind of like Elphaba going to the wizard and wanting to maybe not be green anymore.
Yeah. I just, while talking about this, had like maybe an inspirational, maybe a really sad thought that hit me.
Well, if it's sad, sure, bring it.
Can I share it here at the end? I think that's how we love to close.
I don't want to hear. Well,
no, I don't know. It just hit me. I was like, what I was going to say is maybe the takeaway here is whatever your goal is, it's nothing to do with you that is the biggest hurdle between you and your goal. We like to think that it's a real sort of, there's somebody who's going to sell you a course under that premise. But truly, if you're like, I want to travel the world. Okay, well, you need, like, it's the money, it's the arrangements, it's nothing with you. I'm not saying it's nothing with you, but your issue is 10 on the list.
But it's funny because I think, to your point, most of these self-help things are all about, these aren't, like, the external factors are nothing. You can get around those. It's something you have to overcome within.
Right.
And in this case, what you're saying is the thing to overcome within is your logical reasoning to understand the outside forces that most strongly affect the situation.
Right. Those are probably more significant, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be in the NBA. The problem is not necessarily anything you can fix. It's all the 6'9" super athletes that are out there. But that's the problem. You can believe in yourself, and that would fix problem number 12. But problems 1 through 11 will still be there. And I think that's what Moses was dealing with here. Was he was like, I don't have a stutter. The self-help book said I got to work on myself first. And God is like, okay, respect, but at the same time, we have a lot to do here, and your stutter is not really a factor at this point.
Yeah, I think God looked down on the situation and said, respect is the message translation of some passage. God said respect, and then shot lightning and fire from heaven and lit up the altar.
We are a part of what's holding us back. We're just like not the most important thing holding us back from our dreams.
We should write a self-help book. I think we've taught people some things today.
Oh my gosh.
If you feel inspired by us, please reach out to Anthony Russo.
We learned today. That's what we do here on Cheat Day Devos. We learn together. Mm-hmm. Hey, here as we close, Tim, we still have an opportunity. In closing. Reach out.
Let's pray.
Opportunity right now. This is our goal this year, is to change the lives of 100 kids in the beautiful country of Brazil. Where Tim's from. You can tell. Look at that look in his eye. Look deep.
They're pretty blue.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the country of Brazil. We're trying to change 100 kids' lives in Brazil in partnership with Compassion International. Compassion International, incredible organization. They come in to these kids' lives. They provide them with education and food and clothing and all these great things to help them grow and thrive and set out into this life and be successful. And it's super duper cool. You can do some more research on it if you want, but you can also join us and help us try to hit our goal of 100 kids. Sponsored. You can do that at compassion.com/Bible is funny. I'm going to put that link in the show notes as well. Once you do it, give us a shout, and we're gonna give you a shout out here on the podcast.
If you want to be cool and anonymous, that's very respectful as well.
Real shadowy figure. Just taking care of kids.
You can be Batman and help the kids out. Cool. Use that link. You can go directly. And I would say do the research. I would like if you want, just go and check it out and see what's going on.
That's a good point. I take that for granted. Compassion, I'm so encouraged. Please look into it because it's the best organization. I love the work they're doing. So check that out. Compassion.com/Bible is funny. Tim, we want to do another podcast here soon?
I don't know.
Well, this is the end, folks.
It's been real.
Okay, love you. Bye.
See ya.
The Bible is